I'm Dr. Duke with The New American, and well, we've got a news story that's going kind of viral, and it's not impeachment for this week. It's what's happening with Chick-fil-A. And this is very personally disappointing to me for a variety of reasons. For those of you who don't know, Chick-fil-A has decided to dissociate themselves to organizations that don't, quote unquote, don't support lesbian and gay agenda items like gay marriage. And what's really unfortunate about this, and we step back from this, we know that Chick-fil-A has thrived over the last decade. We know that Chick-fil-A has shot up to number 2 or 3 fast food restaurant in the country. We know that Chick-fil-A is really expanding. They're opening international stores. They just tried to open one in London, and maybe this has something to do with it. In London, England, they opened a Chick-fil-A restaurant, the first one, and for the first 2 weeks the restaurant was opened, they were radically boycotted by angry social justice warriors from the UK. It was so bad that the franchise owner decided to give it up. He decided that it wasn't worth it, and so Chick-fil-A had to vacate Europe, or at least vacate England. It's a big deal. We also know that on college campuses around the country, at least 3 or 4 times in the last month, students have demanded that Chick-fil-A be booted off college campuses, that it never should be invited to be in the first place, that Chick-fil-A was being considered as a vendor in certain colleges, and students and faculty have erupted in unrighteous indignation that we do not want filthy Chick-fil-A and their bigotry on our campuses. That's got to be wearing down the ownership as well. And then finally, we've also had a situation very recently where in the local high school, at one of the local high school football games, a Chick-fil-A vending truck was there selling sandwiches at the site of the game. And a number of students boycotted. They actually walked out of their high school, about 100 kids, to protest the fact that Chick-fil-A had a van selling chicken sandwiches at the football game. And of course, all of this is because of the misguided notion that somehow Chick-fil-A discriminates against lesbian, gay, and transgender people. First of all, it's nonsense. There's not a single episode, not a single complaint from any gay, lesbian, or transgender person. I can find any across the country or internationally where Chick-fil-A has discriminated against somebody of an alternative sexuality in terms of serving them, in terms of hiring them, in terms of promoting them. There does not be a single shred of evidence. There's not a single complaint that any of the many Chick-fil-A franchises across North America discriminates openly against individuals because of their sexuality, refuses to work with them, refuses to interview or hire them or promote them once they're hired. None. Zero. Zip. Zill. Not a single complaint. All of this Chick-fil-A is bigoted stems from the fact that the founder, while he was alive, actually donated money to traditional marriage groups. And keep in mind, as recently as 2008, 9, and 10, Barack Obama's stance on marriage was that marriage was between a man and a woman. Hillary Clinton's stand, 2008, 9, and 10, was that marriage was between a man and a woman. It wasn't until the miraculous conversion of Barack Obama in 2012, after he won the second term and could not run again, that suddenly he became a great advocate for gay marriage. It's not been that long. Mr. Cathy, when he was alive, supported traditional marriage groups. It is not bigotry to support organizations that cherish the idea that marriage is between a man and a woman. There are all sorts of cultural, sociological, and certainly religious reasons why somebody might support those causes. But by supporting those causes, that doesn't make you a bigot any more than supporting gay and lesbian causes exclusively makes you anti-heterosexual. Nevertheless, for so small a sin, they will never let you forget the progressive activists that, according to them, if you're not 100% on board with the gay and lesbian agenda, that means you hate gay people and transgenders and homosexuals. That's the conclusion that the culture wars have made. So Chick-fil-A now is being besieged by all of these issues. And so what the new CEO of Chick-fil-A, who from what I understand is a Greek and a Orthodox Catholic, has decided that we're done fighting this. What we're going to do now is we're going to disavow ourselves from donating to any organization that has a view of marriage that can be considered traditional. This is a huge problem because one of the reasons Chick-fil-A grew so fast, a huge reason it grew so fast, is because of how much conservative Christian support has been thrown its way. Chick-fil-A was, and according to the owners, still being run as a Christian organization. They still plan to keep their restaurants closed on Sundays as a great act of biblical principle. They claim to have biblical compassion when it comes to how they deal with employees, deal with customers. It is a faith and family-friendly organization, or at least it used to be. Here's the big problem with Chick-fil-A's decision. And among the organizations that the Chick-fil-A people said they're going to stop doing business with, by that I mean stop donating money to in 2020 and when we get the new year, is the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and the Salvation Army. Now, the Salvation Army is one of the most effective Christian organizations, one of the most effective charities in the world. Donating to the Salvation Army has no litmus test. The Salvation Army does not provide services, does not refuse to provide services to gay people. It does not discriminate. It doesn't pay attention to somebody's sexual preference. And yet, because they are traditionally a Christian organization, another organization that calls itself Christian, Chick-fil-A, has decided they can't donate to them anymore. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes, right? Which by definition seeks out Bible-believing Christian athletes to help support. Now Chick-fil-A, in its new moral high ground, will not donate to them. And, of course, they're diversifying who they donate to. So you can darn well bet that after the new year, they're going to be very, very publicly donating to very, very public gay and lesbian organizations. Now, the problem with this, besides the fact that it's cowardly, is that it's not going to work. Already GLAAD, one of the major gay and lesbian organizations across the country, has said it's not enough. What did you expect? It's not enough, Chick-fil-A. It's not enough that you still consider yourself Christian. It's not enough, Chick-fil-A, that you don't disavow your biblical Christianity and become mere acolytes and exist to serve primarily these marginalized gay and lesbian communities. So you're not going to appease the left by doing this. That's not the thing. You're not going to get the goodwill back of people who aren't going to eat with you. All you've done now is alienate your conservative base who turned out in droves to support you. Not because of bigotry, but because you took a stand that it's possible to serve people in a Christian way without prejudice, without discrimination, and hold true to your biblical values. You have decided that your biblical values now get in the way of the money you're going to make. And so, as with so many companies before you, you have abandoned your Christian principles. Now, that's not a big deal for most companies who never started out as Christian industries, but you did. And here's the other thing that very few people are talking about that bothers me. What really is hurtful about this and really is unconscionable and unforgivable about what Chick-fil-A has done is the fact that now, by simply disavowing themselves from organizations like the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and the numerous Christian organizations they donate to, like the Salvation Army, what you're telling people by your actions, Chick-fil-A, is that you now agree to that the Salvation Army is a discriminatory organization. You, Chick-fil-A, now agree that the Fellowship of Christian Athletes is a discriminatory organization. You haven't just decided to change your donation patterns. You have not decided simply to make a business decision. You have not simply decided for yourself that you're going to be more welcoming of lesbian and gay lifestyles, which you never discriminated against to begin with. What you have done, whether you realize it or not, is that you have sided with the progressive, atheist, anti-Christian left in labeling two good Christian organizations discriminatory. By walking away from them, you are telling the world that their form of Christianity, biblical Christianity as the Salvation Army practices it, undiscriminatory, serving all people for any reason, you're now telling them that they have to change too before you'll consider donating to them. What you have done is you are one of the few countries that stood by biblical Christianity. And you made a lot of money doing it. This is the thing that blows me away. You became uber successful because you did it. Now that you are billionaires, it now is not enough. You need to become multi-billionaires, international multi-billionaires. And you're doing it at the expense of those Christian values. You're not gonna gain many liberal eaters. You're not gonna gain many liberal diners, but you're gonna lose many Christian conservatives. I'm one who's seriously thinking never visiting your stores again. I believe it was Jesus, that same biblical figure, Chick-fil-A that you've abandoned, who once said, "What profits it a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? What profits it you, Chick-fil-A, to gain the whole world market and lose your soul? Thanks for joining us. I'm Dr. Duke with the New American Magazine, and this has been my take on the news.